Okay, so we've started the recording, and again, welcome everyone to the Yolo County Fire Safe Council meeting, May 22nd. So we're calling the meeting to order at 4 minutes after the hour. First action is to approve the agenda, which is on the screen and was emailed the week prior. Do we have a motion for somebody who's reviewed it in advance?
This is Kate Laddish, and I'll move to approve the agenda.
A second out there?
I'll second. Kid Britton.
Okay. We have a motion, and I'll call the question. So all in favor to approve? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. So no additions, no inclusive, motion passes. The next action is to approve the meeting minutes, and I want to do that. I noted one edit under the Fire Safe Council reports. Severa, the Cape Valley Firewise community, we never discussed, we always had it set up as encompassing the entire scope of the district. We just reminded everybody that it was doing that, and it was not just Rumsey or Gwenda, but the entire district. So that's the only edit that I have. If there are any other edits for the for last month's agendas, please speak up now. So if the minutes at that point, no other questions. Call for a motion to approve this month's minutes as corrected.
This is Laddish. I'll move to approve as corrected.
Okay. The second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion to approve the April 24th meeting minutes. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. Hearing none, motion carries. We'll move on to member announcements. So any brief member announcement, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Frances Westfield from the Red Cross, just announcing that we are going to have an alarm installation this Saturday coming up at Winters. We have about 40 homes that requested installations, and we'll be happy to serve any other homes that will open the door for us.
Thank you.
And I would like to announce that the Yolo County Board of Supervisors declared last week Wildfire Awareness Week, and they gave a lovely recognition to the Yolo County Fire Safe Council, but also more specifically to the Cape Valley and the West Winters Fire Safe Council. So Supervisor Barajas made the resolution, and then Craig Hollis from Cape Valley was there with me to accept the plaques. So that was fun, but it was really nice. There was a lot of appreciation for all the work that we are all doing to keep our county safer. So that was fun.
Great.
Great. I wish I could have been there.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tanya, I'm really glad. I mean, thank you for everything that you do, and I'm really glad that you got to actually physically receive the proclamation.
Yeah, I was sort of filling in for West Winters because Kira couldn't be there because she had to work, as happens.
Great. So I have something that is it includes applicability to fire, but it's choose your disaster. This could work for it. So I'm on the California Standardized Emergency Management System Alerts and Warning Specialist Committee. And so we're the group tasked with writing and revising the state alert and warning guidelines. And a few years ago, the legislature passed and the governor signed a bill, AB 580, that said that we had to update them and specifically to make things better for people with access and functional needs. So we revised them. It went through all these iterations and they were just published very recently. And so I'll put a link in the chat. But some of the things that are really exciting about it is that, so within the general features to consider in your program, under access and functional needs considerations, we added in accessible and actionable alert and warning messages, time needed to act, events warranting alert or warning, and inclusive communication planning and whole community outreach. And so those are, so even though this is written specifically for people who would be actually sending the alerts, it's something that I think because of the discussions this group has had, we might be interested, people might be interested in taking a look at it. And I should say it's very specifically for IPAWS, the integrated public alert warning system, but it doesn't include something like Everbridge that we use here with the mass notification system, but in this iteration.
And it looks like there's a request, Kate, for you to share the link.
I'm copying the link right now. Thank you. Thank you for asking, Jorge.
Yeah, it's all good. And just to piggyback on the fire safety, my colleague this evening is at the Madison Migrant Center, Jorge Zavala, Catholic Charities Disaster Services, just encouraging folks to be safe. We're visiting different migrant centers this week for their resident meetings that they have at the beginning and at the end of each season. And so we'll continue doing outreach and engagements this season. So thank you all.
Matt, do you have a question? I see your hand up.
Yeah, no question. Thanks for asking, Heather. Hey everyone, Matt from Bobcat Ranch here. I just thought I'd give folks an update on some of the things that we've been doing to prepare for fire season. CAL FIRE has their dozer and grader out here right now, and so we're grading lines and breaks next to all of our neighbors. And we do have the prescribed fire for Highway 128 scheduled for the end of this month. So fingers crossed conditions are going to be good. And hopefully if we get another dozer line in next to the Golden Bear subdivision, we'll be coordinating another prescribed burn over there to help with access and safety out there. So holler at me if you guys have questions.
As a neighbor, I just want to say thanks. I saw your dozer and grader go by and I'm like, yes, good job, guys. Thank you.
Okay. Well, sounds like announcements have wound down. The action item that's sort of one we had tabled from the prior meeting. Item number 5 is to approve moving the 100,000 project funds from the Front County, prior known as the Grant Line Road, to small vegetation management projects. Yeah.
So for this one, we may need a quorum. And we have a total of 21 eligible voting members and we have 14 present. So it looks like we have about 2/3.
I think it's majority though, like when it's not when it's not having a new president or vice president,
Okay.
and then a
Okay.
chair, vice chair, but regular action. So it's would be majority of the 14
Yep.
present.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, in that case, I'll do a little background explanation so that we know what we are talking about. So I'm going to share screen. So this is a little history lesson in funding. So back in 2021, when Bill Dodd sent some money to the county of Yolo for firework, this is our original project funding. So there was 800,000 for a siren system feasibility study. There was to be managed by or done by OES. There was 120,000 for the chipper program, which the RCD managed and is still managing. And some of that went to actually purchase a brand new fabulous chipper. There was 175,000 for the Grant Line or Front Country Road, as it's been called now. And this was a project that the tribe was really interested in doing, the Yochidiki Fire Department and CAL FIRE. And that one didn't really have a lead and hasn't, there's been some discussion, but nothing's actually going on. There's the address sign program, which was given to the RCD, which we're still managing. And then there was $350,000 for smaller fuel reduction projects. So that's brush and tree trimming in winters and eucalyptus stand removal in winters. County Road 41A in Rumsey, which sort of has been on hold because of lack of right of entry. The Rumsey Canyon Road actually ended up down on our early action pile, which if you remember, the siren feasibility system study got put down into here. So we end up with Rumsey Canyon Road and ditch. There's the Gwenda Wildfire Protection Project, which has been completed. Cape Valley fuel reduction projects, and then the State Highway 16 fuel abatement and fire prevention. So that's $1 million. So the proposal is to take out 100K from Front Country and put it into fuels reduction projects. So does anyone have any questions about that? All make sense. So Kurt, do you want to stop sharing so we can all see each other? So OES and Kurt has been managing those smaller fuel reduction projects and is needs some more funding.
Yeah, I was gonna say you covered everything that I was gonna cover, so
Okay,
you got it. I appreciate that.
I had a visual aid.
Yeah, and for everybody's information, I know that maybe somebody might be concerned that we're taking money that's needed. The discussions with both CAL FIRE and with Yochidiki Fire, basically that's why we came to the conclusion that we're only taking 100 out of that, because they don't need all the monies, or down. But we'll to be seen if they need any of it at all. But at least this time we'll borrow 100,000 over to the other program, because there's other projects, other properties that haven't been addressed yet, and we want to keep that project moving along. So without any further ado, I would say if we get a vote, then that would be great.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? If not, we're looking for a motion in a second.
I'm not sure if I can actually make a motion.
Right, OES is
Yep.
not a voting member. Just an important partner.
In Britain, West Witters, I move to approve the budget change as described.
And Kate Laddish, IHSS Advisory Committee, I'll second.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second. There was not a whole lot of other additional discussion, so I'm gonna go ahead and call the question. For everyone representing, I think we'll try to, I'll give a little bit more time to either go off mute and, you know, first the ayes and then the nays. So all in favor? Aye.
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 All right. Any opposed? Nay. Looks like that motion carries. Okay.
Point of
So we're on-
order.
Yep.
would there be any reason to call for abstentions?
I guess we probably should. I didn't even think about that. So any
I
abstentions?
just hear it sometimes. I know nothing about Robert's rules, so
It's been a while since I reviewed them too, and
A good point. I mean, if you're benefiting from the decision, right?
yep.
Same.
Yeah.
That's why we have like groups. So that would just be like either is it West Winters Fire Safe Council, essentially abstaining.
so yeah, I guess we do benefit directly from this, don't we? And I think I have to change my I vote to a abstention once we're called for abstentions.
Okay. We got that noted. Yeah.
It can, in terms of point of order, if you're going to abstain, I actually, I don't know whether or not you can have made the motion.
Oh, good point.
No,
Oh,
I
man.
I think you still can, because that is moving the question
Moving the
and
question
moving the
forward.
question forward, especially for things.
Okay.
And it's been long enough but that the abstention is I've not typically, I've gotten out of the habit of even thinking about calling that. So, but that definitely on things where money could be
And
involved.
not that it matters, but Ken, I don't think you took advantage of any of the funds. I think you and I had a separate conversation. I don't think you took advantage of any of the funds personally, so I don't know that the abstaining is even necessary for you.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
the exact changes of this budget don't affect us at all, so I'm not even sure it's necessary.
Yeah, I don't think it does specifically.
That's why I didn't think of that when I first saw the changes
Yeah.
described. I didn't see
Well, remember,
us.
there's not individuals that are eligible members. They are just, they're groups. So just it's all semantics.
No,
at
I'm
this point.
thinking about I'm thinking strictly about West Winters, as a whole.
Yeah.
That's who I'm speaking for here.
Yeah.
But none of the beneficiaries of the monies that were being moved on this question none of those were West Winters projects that were receiving the dollars that were shifting, correct?
Actually, West Winters projects would be benefiting from this, just like anybody else. So unfortunately, if you were to abstain because you guys were being benefited by it, unfortunately, everybody's being benefited by it.
Yep.
Because even Cape Valley is being benefited by us moving this project, this movement
Right.
forward. So I think your abstain is related to you personally. I don't think your representation of the group is necessary to abstain from it.
All right, then we will just leave the results of the vote as they stand, and I apologize for wasting everyone's time.
So, which is you're as an I, is that where it's standing?
I'm an aye, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Very good.
Good to work these things out. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so we've completed and approved item number 5. Moving on to regular reports, and I'll turn that back over to Tanya to.
I am the report wrangler, and at the top of our report list is CAL FIRE, and Chief Close is here.
Yep, how's it going?
Good to see you. If you can let us know what is going on out there, that would be great.
Yeah, nothing new from CAL FIRE from the last time I talked to you guys. We're still looking at our ramp up of 1 engine per station on June 10th, getting those firefighters there. The only thing I would add today is that our burn window is closing. So if you or anyone you know is planning on burning, better get it done, because the grass is curing fast, as you can see. And a little north to us, they're getting fires daily. So that's it.
Great, thank you. Our next update and report is from Yolo County Office of Emergency Services. So I don't know who wants to start. Kurt, Kristen, or Christopher's here too.
Sorry about that. I was having a coughing fit over here. So Kristen doesn't have anything to say. Kristen and Christopher did not have anything to say. I was going to just give a quick brief. All the work that is scheduled on my list of projects, they're all moving forward. We have, because of all the work being done, there's about another dozen or so people that have shown interest in it that hadn't previously shown. So we may be coming back and trying to work with other areas to get other funding reallocated for the projects, but we'll see how it goes. West Coast Arborist is working through the area and moving right along.
Right, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna quickly share the screen here. You all saw the coordinator report that was sent out last week. Just pointing out that the next West Winters Fire Safe Council is June 11th and Pleasance Valley is June 10th. And then in terms of our projects, we're still working through some permitting issues, or I shouldn't say issues, just permitting process, which is a process. Starting the scope of work for the Rumsey ditch to get contractors lined up to do the shaded fuel break on the northwest side of it. We have a list of 12 contractors to invite to bid on the project. And then in Rumsey, we're working on doing some work along the State Highway 16 going up into the canyon. Sort of a shaded fuel break / ingress egress improvement. And speaking of that, on 128, we had a couple days out there last week with the Delta Camp crew. And they're also preparing this week to do their burn on the Bobcat Ranch east side. So that will likely start Tuesday the 28th. But this, of course, is dependent on things out of our control, like weather. On the fire awareness signs, we still have a few issues with the big signs, but we're moving forward. The little ones have all been designed and you guys approved them. I talked to Caltrans, so we're just going to install them on turnouts out of the Caltrans right away, so we don't have any wrangling. And that'll happen pretty soon. We just have to identify the actual pullouts and how many signs we need, and the fabrication will happen really quickly. And then the other project is the Knox boxes. Chief Lawrence is working with Knox and getting the account set up and moving forward with that. It's kind of a complicated process because of the access issue, but he's moving on that and really glad to be adding some access to the west side of the county. So, do you guys have any questions on the projects? Because I have more stuff to talk about. Okay, so the grant updates, there is a new resource for fire-related funding from the FACnet, which I'm actually forgetting what the acronym stands for. But I'm gonna put a couple of links in the chat. So the first one is for our Google Doc that Kate Reza manages very diligently. And then the second one is for this grant that she's suggesting that folks look at, and would also like to remind people that through the county coordinator funding, she's available to help. Yeah, it's Fire Adapted Communities Learning Network. Thank you, Tracy. She's available to help with any grants that you might want to put together for your local area or your local fire department. I'm also, because it's Allie's birthday today, so she is not here today, and I am giving her report. The Prescribed Burn Association, there's nothing concrete happening, but there's lots of possible burns with nothing really, no dates set, due to weather and just preparing for burns. If there's any burning or training opportunities, we'll send out information to the PBA email list, which probably some of you are on. And then the outreach update, I updated you on the small signs, so we're just gonna have to figure out some locations and order a number of signs to order. And then Allie created, as folks suggested, the ignition source handout to be given out to the local gas station, convenience stores, and coffee shops for awareness. So we do need to get those printed and put up. Our May newsletter went out on May 14th about Wildfire Preparedness Month, which is May. And then she's been doing her wonderful social media posts about defensible space and home hardening all month long. So if you're not following us on Facebook or Instagram, you can do that. And Allie's working with the county public information officer on a press release about Wildfire Preparedness Month. So we'll have information that's very consistent that goes out to the general public on how to prepare for wildfires. Then in terms of programming, the reflective address sign is chugging along. Get a few requests every month. And if you drive up and down Highway 16 at night, they're all jumping out at you in your headlights. It's really great. But if you have any neighbors or know of anyone who needs a sign, please let me know. You can order signs for your neighbors if they will install them. Moira has done that for a few folks who aren't interested in going online and filling out the Google form. And there's 2 properties on the list for the chipper program, but we need a couple more to schedule a full day. And that is the RCD, Yolo County RCD update. Does anyone have any questions on that?
There's a question in the chat.
Oh, can't talk.
Are any departments or other orgs applying for funding this round for the volunteer fire capacity program?
And that's the one that's due on Friday. There was a few emails between me and Kira from West Winters, and not that I know of, but that would definitely be fire departments. So we can't apply, but we can help people apply.
And then Tracy put some clarifying info in about that FACNet grant opportunity. Thanks, Tracy.
That's it from Yolo County. I see Chris is here from Solano. If you can give us a report, I know some stuff is going on over there too.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so Solano RCD, I just have a few things to update on. We're paralleling, albeit behind Yolo on a number of these different items. One of the main ones is that the Prescribed Burn Association, which is it, can I call it the Yolo Solano Prescribed Burn Association? Is that okay to say now? Is it still weird? Okay.
I think Yolo Solano works well.
Okay, Yolo
not
Solano
Yolo.
Prescribed Burn Association. So our staff has met and marked maps with a CAL FIRE representative in the field as far as trying to figure out those high priority areas where we want to do prescribed burns in the SRA. And then we're meeting with local fire chief and for Vacaville fire protection to vet those sites and go out to a few of them. And in possible preparation of burning in several different areas. One of them would be that, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Cherry Glen area, which is right off of 80, and then also Quail Canyon, kind of at that nexus of Sackett Ranch, Quail Canyon area where a lot of that fire comes zooming through. It's very preliminary, but exciting to kind of get moving, and we're super excited to get on the ground with Yolo folks and start doing some of these burns in the next few years. Along that same vein, we are scheduling about half a dozen of our staff. I don't know, I think it's a half a dozen, but may end up being 4 people that are going to go to red card training in sometime later this summer, fall, like in September, either in, I think in Butte County, I think is where they're possibly going to do that. And that would allow them to take part and be more involved in actual burns with Yolo RCD and other fire protection groups. Another thing is, I may have said the last update, or during the last update, we were putting out an RFP for an RPF, which we always get a big kick out of in our office, to essentially, and Revelie's heard me talking about this for like the last 3 years, to remove hazard trees. There's a lot of still very large, gnarly, technical term, burned, half dead, mostly dead, or all dead trees all along in Pleasance Valley. And they're eventually going to fall in the creek and flood bridges and culverts. So essentially we got funds from U.S. Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Forest Service, and not Fish and Wildlife, through a CARC, or California Association of RCDs block grant, to basically do that. So we have a $500,000 budget to go through and take out as many of those trees as we can. We've already done the preliminary mapping of the priority trees. The RPF is going to actually vet all the trees that we've marked as nasty priorities, and then ones that we can environmentally actually go get. On top of that, the County of Solano has tentatively, well, actually they stated that we would have funds, about $250,000 extra funds, to actually fell or work with the county in some capacity and a contractor to fell trees that are more of a public hazard, to public right of way, that sort of thing. So what we're hoping is with these 2 pots of money, we can get the nastiest big trees along waterways, and then also some of the lingering trees that are public issues to property and people's homes and that sort of thing. So it's all moving very slowly, but we hope to, by late this summer, start removing trees. We have basically 2.5 years. So we have the end of this summer, fall, and then the next 2 summers to get as many trees as we can. So that's my report.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So moving on in alphabetical order of our local and very important community fire safe councils. The first is Cape Valley, and I know Moira is out of town. So Jonathan, are you gonna?
Yeah, we completed our second defensible space project Sunday, and the homeowner was very appreciative again of the effort. It was a little easier this year, but still have some some challenges, and put some of that new equipment to work. Definitely need to change out to the heavy duty trimmer line for some of that hard grass. And then also we're the project that is the CAL FIRE, Cape Valley prescribed burn, the Rumsey fire buffer that's Jesse's working on. I helped him relocate his small tractor up there to prepare the drag lines and what he can. So that's still the preparation work and the permitting work. He's working on that, and I know he's not on the call, and we may have one other to go on, but we're also getting a number of questions of, well, what do we need to report and how we do this, or what is it we need to do to help harden the homes of the Firewise community interest, and everything's moving along. So we're having good activity, good engagement, and people are getting things sort of noticeable. You wait for the green sort of to disappear, and then the field is gone or mowed, and ditch lines or disc lines are showing up.
Oh, thank you. And Napa is not here today, but Revelie's here from the Pleasance Valley Fire Safe Council. What's going on over the creek?
All right, the Fire Safe Council is doing a survey of residents about insurance, and that's underway. I don't know very much about it, but the big thing I have to report about is that there was a house fire in our neighborhood, and it was the proof that the cooperation, the mutual aid agreement between Winters Fire Department and Vacaville Fire Protection District worked really, really well. The people will be out of their house for a year. It was a bad fire, but from my house, I watched first Chris Garcia came, and then Winters came, and then Vacaville Fire Protection District came. It was beautiful. Anyway, I'm full of admiration for Jack Snyder and our chief at Vacaville Fire Protection District for making this happen. Anyway, thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you. And Ken, can you give us a report from West Winters?
Sure. I guess I'm third in line, but I get to give the report. And blessedly, we just had our meeting last night, so I actually remember much of what we talked about. A lot of it, Kira has already mentioned here in this context, so I don't want to repeat it. But we did have a couple good tabling events. A little unfortunate that when you're doing fire awareness tabling, to be doing it in the middle of a freaking downpour, it's just not good PR, right? You want a hot, dry, windy day, not a freaking downpour. Anyway, had some interest, and it was good. I wasn't able, because I was sick, I wasn't able to go to either of those, but I heard that there was a lot of good sort of peer-to-peer networking at those, even though there wasn't a whole lot of traffic, foot traffic on the rainy days. Other than that, want to give a shout out to Allie for supplying us with some outreach funding. We have a new banner which appeared at those table events. Looks really nice. And we were talking about what to put on some brochures to send around to our people and to keep at our future tabling events that were more local than the great stuff you guys already have. We don't want to be too redundant, but we also want to have, stuff that our people would find interesting. So some of the more local stuff. If any of y'all have thoughts of what works for sort of, real local hooks on handouts for people, those are still being drafted. And if you have things that you either find didn't work or were really effective, we're going to be doing final drafting next month. So please, if you have thoughts, either put them in the chat or send me an email. And yeah, there was some local gossip about neighbors, of course, as it happens in these things, but that doesn't interest anyone else but us. And yeah, it's a good meeting. So again, thanks to Allie and you guys for the outreach funding. That's really helpful. Oh, and yeah, on our signs, which are a long time in coming, we are really about ready. The back end of that we're going to talk about soon. Much of the back end work is done. The signs are in our hands. So that's probably going to the signs that we're talking about. You probably have all forgotten about. Our first responder signs are going to go at key points where first responders will come into the neighborhoods, and they're going to have a QR code that will direct people to a map and other resources that would help the people in the event of a fire. And so that's been a while coming, and it's gonna be done soon, we hope. And that's it.
Thank you. So the event that Ken is referring to was the Wildfire Preparedness Day in Solano County at Lake Solano Park, and it got colder and colder. These guys are smiling very broadly, but there's their beautiful new banner. And it was raining, and as soon as the event ended, the rain stopped, and we packed up and went home and thawed out. So
apparently they had to hold that tent down a couple times when the gusts came through.
Yeah, there was gusts, there was cold rain. It was kind of epic. Chris was there. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Maybe I was blocking it out because it was so cold.
So cold.
What it was just kind of a time for Yolo and Solano groups to all chat basically and talk about what we're doing. So that was good. It was unfortunate because Solano County did a really good job getting a lot of resources there, and they would have had a helicopter there as well. So they had EMT resources, they had CAL FIRE resources, they had a bunch of people there, and it is a really good networking situation. It just was mid-February. That's basically what it was. So anyway, thanks for bringing it up, Ken. I forgot to put that up.
Is that going to happen again next year?
I sure hope so. And actually,
it was-
I really liked the location because they had all the resources on top and the upper parking lot, and all of us down below in the day use area. And it was a nice area to set up, and relatively easy area to set up. And I sure hope that's the plan. It's annual, and they have done a lot of the work. You know, the lists of all the different partners and everything's already been done. So we just start a little bit earlier and get everyone excited about it. And I think we could have a good one of these next year.
Excellent. That's great.
Yeah.
Yes, people loved it.
Yeah,
Except for
it was a good start,
Yeah.
but so cold. So
But
cold.
like you say, all the resources, seeing the equipment and the people was super handy, and it was really informative. So it's a really good idea. And next year we'll have better weather, no doubt.
Yes, very likely. So that's the end of our regular reports.
Good. The one thing I was I sort of mentioned before the meeting, and maybe it was it was tacked on to one of the emails, was the asking for a volunteer. Do we want to revisit that for the emergency evacuation zone review? If somebody could address that, because I realized I figured it might come up, but
Yeah, so that was last week when I sent that out as part of the packet. And Christopher Estrada, are you coordinating that? Or Kristen Voivoda? And do you guys need more volunteers?
I am coordinating that. I wouldn't mind having another person on there if there's somebody who's willing. We do have our first kickoff meeting scheduled. I'm trying to pull it up on it's next week. I was just talking about this. I should remember, on the 29th at 10 a.m. via Zoom. If one other person would like to join, just to have another opinion.
Kristen,
And-
what are you looking for in terms of a volunteer? What kind of skills or experience?
Just no skills or experience. So we're going to be reviewing the current zones that the county has for evacuations, and then talking with Genesis, the software company that we have gone with, that will be creating our more live zones and more live evacuation maps. And they have an algorithm that produces zones that are different than the zones that were created in the past by the county. So we need to decide if we want to use their data-driven analytic algorithm for our zones or some combination of both. And so just looking for people who are willing to look and talk about how we do this and what we want to do going forward. And this is solely for rural Yolo County. Each city is doing their own zone review.
And Kristen, do you have to be a resident of rural Yolo County to advise?
No, I could care less where you live, as long as you have some thoughts about it.
Okay, because it looks like Jorge has volunteered and available.
yeah. And I looked at that GIS, and it is, at least it appears to me to be an improvement for the zones surrounding my area.
Most definitely. I think there are going to be some great things. We just want to make sure we put together a work group of individuals when making the decision, and not just having it be one-sided.
Like a mini community wildfire protection plan.
Yeah, I would love to join that group, as I've been doing quite a bit of outreach out there in the rural parts.
So I think the group is different than doing outreach right now. It's helping us decide what these zones will look like. If they will be the computer algorithm or the old zones that we have created.
It sounds like, Ken, am I reading right in the chat that you're interested?
Yeah, I'm interested as well. So sign me up. And what was the time of the meeting again, so I can get it on my calendar?
It is on, sorry, I just had it open and then I shut my computer. It's whatever Wednesday is next week at 10 a.m.
The 29th.
29th.
Thank you. There we go. My calendar just
Okay,
popped back open.
that's good for me. I can make it. So
Okay,
great.
that'd be great.
Sort of thing. It's like, I'm interested, but I can't make it right then. So go for it, Ken. Go for it.
Excellent.
And what I would like to do is when we do finalize our zones, I would love, or at least the rural zones, I would love to be able to bring it back to this committee and just have them take one more look at it as a whole versus the group of us who will be looking at these zones and kind of get one more set of eyes and before we move forward to implement it, if that would be okay with this group.
Are all the fire departments going to be represented at this meeting? Because they
No,
might
They-
know some things that the rest of us don't.
they will not be.
You
They
should
have
probably make a
submit-
point
Okay,
of
they have
running
some-
it by
they-
them.
They have submitted one individual to represent the rural fire departments. We have the sheriff's department and others representing this group.
That's pretty good.
Kristen, if you still have room for one, I can participate. I'm Francis from the Red Cross.
I think we'll probably keep it to just, who was the other individual who was just speaking a second ago?
I think it was Jorge.
Jorge and Ken have,
I think we'll keep it
Volunteer.
as to Ken because we don't have any nonprofits participating at this point, but then everyone as part of this group will see the zones before it goes out, just as other rural departments will also see it once this working group finalizes kind of the direction we'd want to go in, and then we'll get others to also look at it and provide feedback.
Yeah.
That sounds
Okay,
great.
thank you.
I was trying or haven't had the opportunity to try to draft anyone from Cape Hay Valley. And I may not be able to join at that time, but I think there are others, or if I could find anyone, they may be in contact with you.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah. And then Tanya, if you'll share Ken's email so I can get him the Zoom
Okay.
information, that'd be great.
okay.
And then we'll come back when we know more. I'll work with you to schedule to get on the agenda to share a little bit more and probably have Genesis come back with us to help kind of share what we landed on.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I remembered that, and we had a discussion for that. So now we're ready to adjourn and set the next meeting of which would be June 26th. Any discussion?
Really quickly, it looks like
Yep.
Reveille has a question in the chat, or a couple questions. Reveille,
That may not be something we can answer. She's
Okay.
talking about, there's very little advertising for the Wildfire Preparedness Day in the WUI.
okay. Okay, great.
So yeah, as Chris mentioned, they did start a little late, but they still got a great group of exhibitors. Catholic Charities were there, we were there.
They have
Family.
vowed, the county, that was one of the pre-debrief items, was starting earlier and getting more information out earlier, over it repeatedly, redundantly, ahead of time. So that was one of the items. You're right on.
Okay, so a summertime meeting, June 26th. Do you guys want to have one?
I'll say yes.
I won't be able to be there, so and I don't think there's anyone else from West Winters here, but I bet someone from our group will be willing. Though it's a busy time for travels.
Yeah, it could be where we've done, it probably for consistency would be best to go ahead and schedule it. And if we really have no items at all, it could be canceled, the week before, especially if they're, but we might have some need to move funding or approve something else, so.
Right. And
Did-
I'd be fine just sort of assuming that we meet on fourth
every month.
Wednesdays. And,
Yep.
that way we don't have to think about it. And
Yep.
then if the need to
Yeah.
cancel comes up, we can
Yeah.
just do it.
Or it's a short meeting, where we cover a couple things that we wrap up, especially as we move into fire season. Yeah. Or it's always fire season, but, all right. So we're looking for a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting, and the meeting is set.
I'll move to adjourn.
I second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Hi.
Any opposed? Nay. I didn't wait for discussion. Meeting is adjourned. See you guys on June 26th. And we